Hello everyone and welcome back to another Fam 2 Cents cooking video, and I am really excited about this one. This is my third time trying to do this properly and I finally think that I have it down. Today we're making extra crispy potatoes and instead of baking them in the oven like all the recipes I've seen online, we're gonna do this in the Ninja Foodie, and I personally believe this is the best way to do it because the Ninja Foodie gives it a more all-around cook and you don't have to do a lot of flipping. If you want to even cooking on the potatoes, but in the oven you have to do a lot of flipping and going in there and flipping each individual one over and over. In the Ninja Foodie, it's just a couple shakes. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is grab some potatoes. These are russet potatoes, I believe, and you want to go ahead and peel them. You don't want to keep the skin on for what we're about to do this time around, so make sure you guys peel them real nice. After your potatoes are nice and peeled, your next order of business is to go ahead and cube them up. Now, you have kind of unlimited freedom with this one. You can chop them thick, you can chop them a bit thinner. If you want to make small cubes, large cubes, it kind of doesn't matter, but it is going to affect how long you want to cook it, because regardless of however big you chop these, however big the chunks are, you're going to want to be able to cut through them once they're done boiling. So basically get a knife in there with as little resistance as possible, because you want them to be pretty much just about done during the boiling process. For this next one, I'm prepping the aromatics for the infusion I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to take some olive oil, I'm going to infuse some garlic that I'm mincing right now, and some just Italian seasoning, and I'll be kind of frying that off just a little bit into some olive oil to infuse those flavors into it a bit, and then we'll go ahead and strain all that excess stuff out, all the cooked garlic and the herbs and stuff like that, and have an infused nice olive oil on the side that we can use to toss the potatoes in before we put them into the air fryer, because you'll need to do that, and we'll get to that part in a moment, but they'll need to be tossed very rough in order to get them to start to kind of fall apart a little bit. You'll see once we get to that portion, but the oil is absolutely necessary, especially if you're putting it in the air fryer. So you don't have to infuse your oil, you can just use plain olive oil if you want to or something like that, but I like the infused oil. It adds a bit of flavor to it and just makes everything taste nice. So it's worth a shot if you want to try it out. If not, you could skip this step. So here you see I'm pouring the olive oil into the pan. I didn't particularly measure, which I probably should have, but we're gonna say about 3 full tablespoons is as much as you need. I put way too much in there. This is way too much what I use now, but usually when I'm cooking I just wing it, so I'll have the actual ingredient list with the amounts in the description for what you can do, but this is what I did. And I'm gonna go ahead and toss the garlic in there once that comes up to temp, the garlic and the herbs, and allow that to kind of simmer for a little bit. One thing you want to also do too is make sure you're regulating your heat properly. I had the heat up too high and I used too much oil, so don't be like me. Just make sure you have it on a low enough heat to where it's a very slow simmer, it doesn't brown too quickly, and you don't want to use as much as I use. Like I said, probably about 3 tablespoons should be enough for what you need to do here to toss your potatoes in the oil. And then once that's infused, you go ahead and strain all the excess stuff out, which you could use later to toss the potatoes in if you don't burn it like I did. I burnt it, so I couldn't use that stuff later, but if you want to toss the potatoes in the dried aromatics and garlic from this, you can do that. Granted, you don't burn it. So yeah, once you're done with that, like I said, strain it and then set the oil to the side and you're good to go for the next phase. Once that's done, it's time to boil the potatoes. Now you're going to need 2 tablespoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which is the key ingredient here. That is the secret to getting extra crispy potatoes. Some people only boil them in salt, and to be honest, that's just not good enough. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of salt, depending on how much you like it. Kind of doesn't, it's not that big a deal. 1 probably just to play it safe, 2 if you just want to put extra in there, and a teaspoon of baking soda. And that baking soda is going to cause a reaction on the outside of the potatoes that gives it that extra crispiness, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So once you bring the water to a boil with the salt and the baking soda in there, you want to put your potatoes in there and allow that to work its magic. And as I said, these are going to cook until you can pretty much pierce them all the way through with a knife. You want them to be just about done when you get ready to take them out, so that way when you toss them you'll get a nice good crust on it. So once that's done, you get to the fun part. As you can see here, I have too much oil, as I said before, but we'll get to that a little bit later. You want your potatoes to evaporate as much water as they possibly can. So when you sit them into a bowl or a strainer or something like that, let them sit and let them steam just a little bit to get a lot of that moisture out of there that you can, because what you'll see is they'll start to turn white and all that moisture will just start kind of lifting up out of them, and you go ahead and put them in your oil and salt them. Now I put too much oil, so you'll see me pour some of it out or whatever before I do my rough toss, but like I said, that's probably why you should use less. I only season them here with salt and pepper, but you can use whatever you want to use. It's completely up to you, but make sure when you toss them, you gotta don't be gentle. They're gonna start falling apart. Well, not really falling apart, but you'll see the outer layer of them start to form a paste, which is what you want. And then what you're going to do is put them into your Foodie and distribute them as evenly as you can. And it's going to look weird. You're going to think like, oh man, these are going to be weird. They're going to stick together. No, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is while you're cooking, a crust is going to form. And once you go in there and you check it afterwards and give it a nice shake, all of them are going to start breaking apart. Like those pieces that are stuck together, they're going to start breaking apart, and you're going to see them start to kind of form their individual pieces and the crust on it, and it works out really good. The air fryer is perfect for this because it cooks all around the potato. It's like a very even cooking, and it just makes things a lot simpler. So I'm taking my spider strainer and I'm putting it in the air fryer right now. You can't see it, unfortunately, because I don't have multiple cameras in order to do all the crazy angles, which I would like to be able to do at some point, but just I'm not in a position to do so right now. So you actually get a shot of them inside there in a moment here, but once you get them into your air fryer, like I said, you just want to spread them out, make sure they're as evenly distributed as you possibly can, and just let the air fryer do its thing. It's gonna take a little bit. It's gonna take a little bit, honestly, before you start to see real change, before you start to see the crust start to build. But just let it do its thing. Put it on air fry or air crisp on high. I just left it at 390, and just shut it, and it'll work its magic. And I'm telling you guys, these are the best potatoes ever. Oh no, actually I put it up to 400, my bad. It wasn't at 390, it was at 400. That doesn't make a huge difference. That just lets them cook faster, because they're already done essentially at this point, but you want them to crisp up. So turning the heat up is not really that big a deal. And boom, it's really that simple. At this point, you're pretty much done. You want to open it up every 5 minutes or so and give it a nice, really good shake to break those pieces apart. And the end result is really nice. Now, as you can see here, I give the lid an opening after a little bit of time to check it out and check the texture there, and it's just starting to brown a little bit. This next step, though, is completely optional. This is leftover oil from the potato tossing. I put a little more olive oil in there, and I put some Italian herbs. I put some parmesan cheese and stuff like that in there, and just mixed it up to kind of toss the potatoes in afterwards. This is 100% extra. You don't have to do this at all. I just thought this was a last minute thing that would be good and add a bit of flavor in there. And I was right. It was excellent, but it is a little greasy. So it's completely up to you. If you want to add that extra flavor towards the end, I'll leave that completely up to you. But you just use the leftover oil, the little bit of oil that's in the bowl from you tossing them, and just kind of go from there. So once that's done, just set that to the side and you'll see me use it towards the end. So here we go. This is the moment that you start to get excited. You open the lid for the Ninja Foodie and you start to see them browning there. As you can see, their kind of individual pieces taking place there. And once you give this thing a nice shake, all those pieces are going to break apart there, and you can hear them. I don't have the audio for this right now, so you can't hear how kind of crispy they are, but it's beautiful. They get this really nice golden color, and these things, they stay crispy like forever. Like, you take them out, no matter how long they're out of there, they don't, like, you know, because they hit the air and they're not hot anymore, you know, they get a little softened up. No, these are crispy until they're gone, and even if I think you saved them until later, they'd still be crispy, and I love that about these potatoes. So here we are, the moment of truth. The potatoes are done. I got a little close up here, and I actually turned the sound on so you guys can hear these. They are crispy. Like, these are some crispy potatoes, and they came out perfectly in my opinion. As I said, the sauce might be an issue for some people, but you can either omit that or do as I did and just spoon it in there just a little bit to your desired effect. Just a little bit at a time, and then go ahead and give them another toss. And the crazy part is, this is like, you know, a wet kind of oily substance or whatever, and it didn't affect the crispiness of them at all. It is insane how good these potatoes are. And I know they are a bit more work. They are. These are definitely a bit more work. It takes a lot longer than just cutting potatoes and put them in the air fryer or something like that or whatever. But the result, the difference, is so massive. There's such a massive difference between those two methods that it's absolutely worth it to me. It's worth the extra hassle if this is going to be the end result. So definitely, I would give this a shot, guys. Now, as you see here, I'm photographing them for plating them and gonna photograph them for the video or whatever, but you guys are gonna be able to see the photo and the finished product in a moment here. Other than that, though, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you liked it. Definitely share this video, because I haven't seen literally any videos at all about anybody doing this process in the Foodie. I've seen a lot of people baking them to do the crispy potatoes. I haven't seen anybody do it in the air fryer yet. So share this far and wide. I'm sure a lot of people are curious or want to know about this or would like to utilize this if they have a air fryer. So yeah, let's spread the word, ladies and gents. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.